Okay, wow. This is my review of episode 19 of Vinland Saga. Spoiler alert. This has got to be my favorite episode by far so far. This episode was fantastic. Um, I watch these episodes and I do this review right after I watch them. So I'm like still just like my head spinning from this one. So it starts with at the end of the battle. Well, episode 18 ended with Thorcal kicking Thorfinn to the moon or something, and he fell through these trees, and Thorcal goes over to see if he's okay at the beginning of this episode, and turns out he's not. He's broken his arm. Like his arm's just dangling. It's rough. He still wants to fight. Thorcal's like, I'm not going to fight you in this condition. He tries to fight, realizes his arm's broke. He can't do anything. So, Askeladd comes over trying to get him to calm down. Of course, he hates Askeladd. So, the whole tiny thing of Askeladd killing his dad. But at any rate, he hates Askeladd. And so while that's going on, last episode, Thorcal said that he had a story about Thor's to tell Thorfinn about his father. And wow. So he tells the story of seeing, so the last battle, of course, Thor's, he left the army. I can't think of the word right now, but he deserted. He deserted the army. So Thorcal was at that battle. They were both, leaders of their own battalions in that battle. And Thorcal always dreamed of killing Thors in battle because Thor's the toughest warrior in history. It's weird because Thorcal's so much bigger than him, but he's got nothing on Thor's with strength. Anyway, they go and Thor falls in the water. Nobody ever sees him. They have a funeral for him. Thorcal's bawling his eyes out, crying because Thor's is dead and he can't, kill him in battle, and he's never going to see his friend again. So 3 months later, he bumps into him, and he was at his house, and Thorcal was at Thor's house or across the street from it on the roof drinking or something. And Thor's comes out with his wife and his baby. First of all, come to find out, which just blew your mind. Who saw this coming? Thor's was given their kings or their leaders, I think it was a king or a leader, their leader's daughter is his wife. So Helga is the leader's daughter. So, because he respected Thor so much for his fighting and the way he carried himself and everything, obviously. And so the leader is Thorfinn's grandfather. So that was enough. Then Thorcal's like, yeah, the leader was also my big brother. So Thorcal is Helga's uncle, Thorfinn's mom's uncle. So that makes Thorcal Thorfinn's great uncle. You're like, whoa, okay. I didn't see that coming. They were related, So anyway, Thorcal is excited when he sees Thor 3 months later. He's like, oh my God, I thought you were dead. And, Thor's is like, sorry for making you worry, but I'm leaving the army. Forget you ever saw me. And at first, Thorcal's like, I don't get this. And then he gets mad and he's like, look, we have to execute deserters. And, he's like, okay. So he tells Helga, stand behind me. The baby's there. Thorfinn is there as a baby for this battle. Of course, he doesn't remember any of this because he's a baby, but he's actually there. And Thorcal gets his sword and he's about to fight Thor's. And he's like, where's your weapon? Thor's like, I don't need one. Thorcal swings. Thor's breaks the axe handle with his hand. Goes flying and lays Thorcal out with one punch. He's like, when I woke up, they were gone. He knocks him out. So that was the last time we saw him. So that was that. So the battle is supposed to, Thorfinn is obviously shaken by all this. It's like, you're my, great uncle, and you're my mom's uncle, and the leader is my grandfather. It's like all this new information about him. So then Thorcal's like, okay, tell me how your father's life went in Iceland when he left the military. And of course, then, not of course, but Thorfinn was like, nope, not telling you. And then Thorkel gets mad. So they're going to start fighting again. So Askeladd, meanwhile, is in Thorfinn's ear. He's like, look, I'm telling you how to beat this guy, okay? But you got to listen to me. And, Thorfinn's fighting because he doesn't like him. He's like, look, I know you hate me. But just for a second, listen. Because you're not going to survive this. I need you to survive because he's going to kill me if you don't survive. Or I'm going to have to go off with him. I need you to survive this so I can survive. So you need to listen, and you need me because you want to beat me in battle. He reminds him he's very smart, very great. Like, I think Askeladd might possibly be the greatest chess player of all time because he thinks so many moves ahead. It's insane. So he gets Thorfinn to calm down enough. He's like, you need to calm down. That's your biggest thing, which it is. Yeah, everybody knows that. So he calms down enough, and he, and with this broken arm, he continues to fight with Thorkel. So he ends up drawing Thorkel in. He uses his sword to blind him with the sun. He ends up gouging out one of his eyes. Well, his men attack. And his second, his Bjorn to Thorkel's Askeladd. You know what I'm saying? So Thorkel's version of Bjorn, whoever this kid is. I don't know his name. But he's like, they attack Thorfinn and they're about to kill him. Thorkel, of course, is enraged. He's like, this is a duel, you're shaming me. And the guy's like, you do what you want to do, but you've got to survive because none of us can win this battle. We can't go on and win this thing without you. So kill me if you got to, but this kid's going to die today. And Thorkel goes to kill him. He's like, but he doesn't do it. So they end up, Thorkel ends up letting Thorfinn and Askeladd go. As this is going on, the prince comes up. And the prince faces off against Thorkel. And they have some conversations. He's like, don't y'all ever get tired? Prince is like, don't y'all ever get tired of fighting? They need to stop. He orders them to stop. And, they're kind of debating whether they should listen. He's like, why should I listen to you? And he lays it all out for him. That, my father wants me dead, so... And he's kind of playing some chess himself. Really wise prince. It's like he had all this wisdom in him. He just needed to get some courage, which he has in spades now. Because at one point, Thorkel goes to punch him, and he's like, "Look, everybody says they're tough, and then when the fight comes and I'm about to kill them, then they cower." And he swung full force, and fist stopped right at the prince's nose, and the prince didn't flinch. And Thorkel basically was like, wow, I've only seen this only one other time, somebody this tough, and it was Thor's. So he has all this, now he has this respect for the prince. The prince is like, my dad wants me dead. Thorkel's like, if I let you live, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going after my dad. I'm going to go and take the throne. Because my dad wants to give it to my brother. He wants me dead anyway. He sent me out here to die. I'm not having that. So Thorkel ends up pledging his loyalty to the prince. So then Askeladd comes and confesses that he had Ragnar killed. Tells the prince, look, offers his sword, tells the prince, kill me if you want. Take my sword and take my life for this injustice. He says, if you can find it in your heart to forgive me, I will serve you as well. So the prince looks angry, of course, calms down, and he's like, you're taking Ragnar's place. Askeladd's like, cool, gotcha. So the prince is marching off to go after his dad with Askeladd and Thorkel as his servants. And it looks like the rest of the army is going to follow him. Thorfinn. So he's got Askeladd, Thorkel, Thorfinn. His dad's in trouble if they all fight for him. And the prince has become like the most badass dude ever. And it was funny, at the end, Thorkel tells Askeladd, stop mimicking me, serving the prince. And Askeladd's like, I've been serving him since you first, came after him or whatever, So Askeladd has been playing this game. And, Askeladd did talk about wanting to serve a true king, a leader. And at one point he was like, I'm going to end up dying before I see this person. So it was funny because at one point when Thorkel said he was going to serve him, Askeladd starts laughing hysterically. It actually reminds me of the Joker. So he's just laughing like crazy. And I remember thinking, first I was like, why is he laughing like that? And I was like, oh, you know what? I think he's happy now because he finally found the leader he's been looking for that was worthy of his service. He and Bjorn talked about that. He asked Bjorn, "Why do you serve me?" He's like, "Because you're worthy of being served." And he's like, "That's what I want." And now he feels like he has it in the prince. And he always knew, this was kind of crazy about Askeladd. He killed Ragnar. This prince is basically his father. But he knew that the prince would never become who he needed to be with Ragnar there. So he was right, which most of the time Askeladd is. This episode was great. Fantastic. A lot less blood, too. That was nice. But this episode was fantastic. It's obviously a very pivotal episode. So I'm excited to see episode 20.